Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. I want to send double honor to the elders, apostles, and bishops at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and safety to the hopeful elect out there doing this work. Much love to the scattered elect and to the few sincere women that subscribe to the true doctrine. This is the brother you call him out for the Great Millstone Camp, the branch out here in Omaha, Nebraska. Coming back with another lesson, Lord willing, to feed and to edify the lost sheep of the nation of Israel through the Holy Spirit, Racha HaKodash. And Israelites consist of the so-called Negroes, the so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans by the seed of your father, no matter what you may look like. And I want to get into this article real quick, something that I came across today. And I try to do a screen recording, still, trying to get the technical difficulties down with that. But I'll post the link to this article, which is from the Times of India, is the source, right? And it's dated as of today, September the 22nd, 2025, right? And it says Elon Musk's Neuralink to launch brain implants that turn thoughts into text. A revolution for patients with spinal injuries and stroke, which this is just, and this is not necessarily a new tactic that these Edomites have been taking on, as far as letting your thoughts control, external forces, for lack of a better words, I've seen with this Neuralink, you have the individual where he's paraplegic and he's able to play spades on, not spades, or play solitary on this game on his computer just by thinking it, and I'm not 100% sure if it's Neuralink or a different technology base, where you have these individuals that are literally playing like Call of Duty and playing these video games with just their thoughts, and this it's just a slow progression of this is convenient. Okay, like it says in the book of Revelation, I'm going to grab that. It speaks about they had to do miracles in the sight of the beast. Okay, and this is another one of those miracles that Esau Edom is trying to perform, because we know that he wants to be God, or even better than God. And you had that, I'm gonna steal the Apostle Rhyme Lob's term, sausage, this sausage sniffer. All right, you've all know Harari, who came out and said, that we'll be better than the God of the Bible. So this is the mindset of all these Edomites, man. Okay. Which is, matter of fact, I'm going to get the miracles right after this. Now I thought about it, the book of Second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3, right? It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, right? And that falling away, that was the nation of Israel during the time of 70 A.D., all right? Where the temple was taken down, where we were taken down by the Roman Empire, all right? Specifically, you had Titus, okay? That was the time of Jake falling away, right? And that man of sin to be revealed is talking about Esau Edom, all right? That man of sin be revealed, that son of perdition, which that perdition means someone who's destructive. And all Esau knows is to steal, kill, destroy. All he knows is to say it candidly, all he knows is to fuck shit up, man. Okay? So it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. All right? And this is what that MOTB is going to make Esau feel like he's in control. All right? This is why they're pushing so hard for this MOTB system. They're pushing so hard to crash this dollar. You had President Donald J. Trump came out and said it And one video that I've seen, I've heard he said it multiple times, but one video that I've actually seen where he was calling for a weaker dollar. Okay, essentially, that dollar is going to get pushed out, right? As they're already in the works of resetting this financial system. We're trying to dump this this American debt, this 37 trillion plus, into cryptocurrency or into Bitcoin. Okay, then you have Trump. How they made a sign, a 12-foot statue of Trump, holding Bitcoin. So, this is what they're pushing for, a reset of this dollar. Okay. And ultimately, what's going to replace your financial? That RFID microchip. All right. It's not going to be an embargo. It's not going to be sin in all its forms. Okay. It's not going to be the market came. It's not going to be sleeping with white women, any of that nonsense. It's going to be the RFID micro C-hip, man. Okay. So now let's get into the precept that with the miracles, man, which is in the same chapter of Revelation chapter 13. All right, this is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 14. It says, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast." And what is that? Not a miracle for someone to walk again. All right, as you know, they did that as well. And I speak as a man, but there was an article that came out concerning this technology, this Neuralink technology. Maybe it was like a year or two ago, maybe like a year ago. Okay, where you had, I'm getting around to what I mean by me speaking as a man. You had this guy that's about a year and a half ago who was paralyzed. And he was above the age of 40, and through this technology, this Neuralink technology, he was able to walk again. Of course, he was walking like a toddler. But he was walking. He needed some support, but he was able to walk again. And me speaking as a man, I believe, that they did that. They put emphasis on this individual being above the age of 40. Matter of fact, let me find it. Because there was an account within the Holy Scriptures where I believe it was Peter. How they were at the gate, beautiful, and there was a man that was lame from his youth up. Okay, and he didn't know he was asking for money, but what happened is that he had, the Peter and them, they told him to rise and walk, and through his faith, that man stood up and he was able to walk, and I know this is why I believe that Esau Edom is trying to mimic the scriptures the best way he can. Okay. All right. Now I got to find this individual, 40 years, Neuralink. Okay. So I found it. And my apologies. It was not Neuralink. It was not Neuralink. All right. And I'm going to get into it. This is from the New York Times, and this is dated May 24th of 2023. So it was 2 years ago. It says brain implants allow paralyzed man to walk using thoughts. Okay. And it says Gert John Oscom was living in China in 2011 when he was in a motorcycle accident that left him paralyzed from the hips down. Now, with the combination of devices, scientists have given him control over his lower body again. Getting down to the point. And now this is what it says. It says, in a study published on Wednesday in the journal Nature, researchers in Switzerland describe implants that provided a digital bridge between Mr. Oscom's brain and his spinal cord, bypassing injured sections. The discovery allowed Mr. Oscom, 40, to stand, walk, and ascend a steep ramp with only a sense of a walker. All right, so this is what I was referring to, and my apologies, it was not Neuralink. This is actually somewhere over in China where this operation was done. Right, it says more than a year after the implant was inserted, he has retained these abilities and has actually showed signs of neurological recovery, walking with crutches even when the implant was switched off. So, this is a miracle. All right, and it looks like it says the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. Okay, so that was the corporation that helped this man to walk again, be it through a brain chip. Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Lausanne. All right. So now I want to get back to it. All right. Now this is I want to get back into this article. Right, as that's dated today. Elon Musk Neuralink to launch brain implants that turn thoughts into text, a revolution for patients with spinal injuries and stroke. Okay, it says Elon Musk Neuralink is preparing to launch a landmark clinical trial in October 2025, aiming to help patients with severe speech impairments, including those affected by spinal injuries. And one thing that America is in competition with China and their technology. Okay, so this is why this digital race, or this race of technology, has been so extreme, to where I believe Trump was talking about dumping billions of dollars into a technical program. I got to find that. I seen it, but I lost it. Got a bad habit of seeing things and not noting it. But yeah, Trump wants to dump billions of dollars in technology. Right, so I found the article, all right, and this is from NIST.gov, and it says, and this is from Slovakia, from June 12th of this year, so it was a few months ago. It says President Trump secures $200 billion investment from Micron Technology for memory chip manufacturing in United States. Okay, so they're dumping all this money into this technology. I believe there was one that came out a couple of years ago where he dumped another $50 billion into AI, or $500 billion into AI, I think that was earlier this year, right? Where he's talking about investing $500 billion into AI technology. So they're planning to turn the system upside down all the way, man. All right, and they were ready to make every single individual their product. Because that's when you go into that mark in Revelation 13 and verse 16. Let's actually get there real quick, because we go over this all the time, man. All right, and we have to go over this because, they're like the Apostle Gabar says, I very much concur. You have new people that are coming in all the time, and we have to edify. All right, this is Revelation 13 verse 16. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? And when you get into that word mark, goes into the word charagma, which is a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which there's not only one Antichrist, there's many Antichrists, as it says in the book of 1 John. It says the mark branded upon horses, right? So, excuse me. So essentially, you're going to be like cattle. You're going to be property, okay? And with this technology, as I show some of the miracles or reference some of the miracles, we're not able to, to text via through your mind, okay? To be able to walk, after being paralyzed from the hip down. Being able to fix speech impediments via through this chip. All right, and these are, and why do I mention these things? Is because these are things that the Lord can do, and He don't need no witchcraft to do it. Okay, He don't need no sorcery to make a man talk again. He can make a man's tongue cleave to his palate, man. But He can also make a man coherent. Make a man very intellectual, as it says that in the Apocrypha, man. Right? Just real quick, I want to to digress too much. All right. Where it speaks about he making the dumb eloquent. Okay. Let's see. What does it say? Is it eloquently? Maybe I'm not spelling it right. Eloquent. Yeah. This is it. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10, verse 21. And it says, "For wisdom openeth the mouth of the dumb, and made the tongues of them that cannot speak eloquent." So that could be someone who's very not very smooth in their talk, that stutters a lot, or maybe that's just someone who really truly cannot talk. The Most High can make that man speak, that man or that woman or whoever speak. Okay. Now it says wisdom, but when you go into the the same book, Wisdom of Solomon 8 and verse 21, I believe, it speaks about the gift of the Most High is wisdom. The Most High giveth wisdom. All right, so that's a spiritual gift that Yahweh Shema Shai can grant to anyone. But Esau, Edom, what he's trying to do, he's trying to be God himself. All right. Now this article, I'm going to post both of the links to both of the articles that I brought up. Okay, I'll just read a little bit more into this article, and then I'm gonna close it down. It's very easy to see what Esau Edom is up to. Okay, so getting back into this article from the Times of India, it says the U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) has granted Neuralink a quote-unquote breakthrough device designation and investigational device exemption, allowing fast-track approval for the study. So they're moving forward with this technology. And they're not going to stop. It says Neuralink's brain implants are designed to read activity in the speech cortex and convert imagined speech into text, bypass keyboards or spoken words. The technology also has the potential to allow users to interact with AI models and send information directly through devices such as wireless earbuds. It says how Neuralink's thought-to-text implants work. Neuralink's implant records activity in the brain speech cortex, decoding neuroscience to convert thoughts into readable text. Unlike traditional virtual keyboard brain-computer interfaces, this technology directly translates imagined speech into words. Previous human trials since 2024 have allowed participants to control computers, send emails, play video games, and post on social media using only their thoughts. Right? Esau Edom he's about to implement this chip very soon, man. Okay, now he's doing it right now in a form of gradualism. They're not jumping straight into forcing the implementation of this chip. There has to be a breakdown of society, which we see that breakdown of society coming with these psyops. Okay, with these with the Palantir, the flock cameras. Okay, you got the Geneva Project, all these, all different types of projects that are meant for tracking an individual based off of situations that are happening via chaos. With C. Kirk, for an example. Okay, the individual, the Jake that was on that train or the bus in North Carolina. All right, that's the so-called unalived, the Ukrainian woman. Okay, so they're doing all these things for reasons to be able to track people down easier and to ultimately infiltrate privacy. Okay, there's no such thing as privacy no more, man. You can cancel that. And Esau Edom's about to make sure that in the near future, and we're looking forward to it, man, because once this MOTB is implemented, or once it's forced upon the people, we know that our Lord is going to be following right behind that to tear this place up, man. All right, and that's going to come through thermonuclear war. All right, and it's going to come through nuclear fallout. That's going to come through the chariots blasting and turning things into dust. All right, and ultimately the salvation of the elect. Okay, So, Lord willing, this was edifying. Just wanted to touch on that real quick. And, just blow the trumpet, and call all like how about Shema Shai. We just, the memorial blowing the trumpets just ended. Okay. Some beautiful exhortation came out, amongst the camp, within the blowing of the trumpet, But let's continue to fight, stay strong, brothers, and you sincere Aquat out there. And continue to stand up on that watchtower. It says in Ephesians 5:15, okay, it tells us to walk circumspectly, not as fools, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So that's how the mindset that we all ought to live in, all right? So with that being said, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Kodash. Double honor to the elders, apostles, and bishops with great millstone. Peace, love, and safety is to the elect. Shalom.